Welcome in, everybody. This is the Fantasy Blitz podcast, powered by Sports Lounge Media, sponsored by the Mobile brand. Tonight we are covering the entirety of the combine. Okay, we're gonna ride this one solo. We got nobody on tonight, so I hope you like to hear my voice. But listen, over 300 plus prospects had just participated in one of my favorite events of the year, the NFL Combine. I religiously watch this. I do research on it. I follow several scouts. I get the insight. I just this is the type of season that I love. I love the NFL. I love the end game. I love the Super Bowl, right? But the off season to me, the trades, the combine, the draft process, the free agency, it's what builds us up, right? It's what helps build the team into further success down the road. That's what we want to do. But right now we're focused on the combine, right? There's been a few trades, but we'll talk about that come Sunday in a general episode. Like I said, tonight we are solely focused on the combine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some just some theories that I had seen. Okay, now all of this is just off game tape. This is not interviews. This is not anything off field. This is on the field, what I've seen with my own two eyes. And here we are. So, first things first, let's talk about some people that may have been first round talent, may have been early second round talent, but these guys, their stock skyrocketed. Okay, just by the combine. First off, John Connerly Jr., tackle out of Oregon. He's not the biggest tackle, right? He's only 6'4", 311, and he's got short arms. We'll talk about a few tackles like that this week, and a lot of these tackles, guys, they are not taking no for an answer. A lot of them have been asked to move to guard in the NFL, and a lot of them are saying, watch my tape. My tape says it all. If you want to say short arms or smaller stature, look at my tape and tell me where I went wrong. Now, what these guys aren't realizing, in my opinion, is talent from the college level to the NFL is obviously a big gap. And so that's why I don't think these guys, obviously you stand by what you produce, and that's realistic. But to say that, it's all on the game tape. Okay, but those are college players. Those aren't the NFL players that you went up against last year. So the game tape, it does say a lot, but it only says so much, right? But look, this guy was Josh Connerly was probably the smoothest drill runner out of the offensive tackles, in my opinion. His 1.71 10-yard split, 34-inch vertical. Really just matched the fluid explosion that he showed in the drills. I think he's going to be an athletic tackle. In my opinion, he's going to move into the late first. I think there is a couple teams in the late first that are going to be looking for offensive linemen, especially on the outside. And this could be a good product piece for a late first. He was very low and quick in pull drills. So this is where I'm like, maybe guard wouldn't be a bad position for him, because, again, he was very strong on the pull drills, low and quick. Also great pass protection from the drills that I had seen. Again, that move to guard is sometimes just better for your NFL career. Longevity, all pros, and whatever it is. Sometimes look at Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton was a big guy, was supposed to be offensive tackle for the Jets, kind of didn't pan out. Came to us. We moved him to guard. Questionable all-pro. I thought he got snubbed, but that's another conversation for another time. Next guy that really stood out. We had talked about this guy last Thursday, after it had started, Friday. James Pierce Jr. James Pierce Jr., quick. If I go back here and look at his stats here, 4.47 40 time, a 1.56 split. He ranked fourth in DEs. He's running the same speed as Saquon Barkley did in the combine. I don't know if Saquon's still running that today, but again, this is more of a Jared Verse pick for me. I think it's great speed on the outside, but in my opinion, does he only have one facet to his game? Does he only have the speed rushing ability? Where is the power? Does the power? I didn't see a lot of power in the combine. So I would classify him as a speed rusher. Uh, Again, I was very high on James Pierce Jr. I think that minus his character, that he will be a phenomenal player in the NFL. There was some character concerns. I guess he got the worst character grade out of the whole combine from NFL scouts and stuff like that. So in the interview process. So, character may be a question, but again, what he produces on the field, some teams take stabs at that, right? You got Jalen Carter last year. No, I'm sorry, 2 years ago, who had, the DUI situation and the speeding and this and that, and he fell to the Eagles. If you do that redraft, Jalen Carter's a top 2 pick. And so some of these situations allow players to fall to a better team. So we'll see how that goes. Next player that really impressed me this week and really increased his stock was Matthew Golden. We had a lot of talk about Isaiah Bond and how he was going to break um, Xavier Worthy's record, and he was confident in it, and blah blah. Okay, but one thing we can realize: Texas has got speed, right? Matthew Golden ran faster than Isaiah Bond. If you watch Texas football, Matthew Golden kind of received the most of the pass catching offense. Isaiah Bond was a deep threat, but I thought Matthew Golden had the better hands out of the two. But again, Matthew Golden really proved that he's just that much quicker. If he has that much better hands, I think Matthew Golden is a first round pick here, guys. I think the Cowboys at 12 might take a stab. I think he probably will be the second wide receiver off the board after Taratoa. That's no shade to Luther Burden, but Matthew Golden has the size. He has the speed. It's just sometimes this is a better fit for the team. Last guy that really just rose his stock up would have been Jackson Dart. A lot of the Bryson, what's going on, Doug? Jackson Dart for me. Obviously Sanders, Cam Ward, they did not participate in the combine, right? But for me, this was the tale of the tales between Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, and Will Howard. Okay, Kyle McCord could have snuck in there too, but none of the quarterbacks really flew off the board, guys. Jackson Dart, however, I think improved what the most behind than Jalen Milroe behind him. But Jackson Dart looked accurate. He had a decent deep ball. The accuracy was the most highlight for me. But according to two NFL team scouts, his football IQ is off the charts. So that, let alone, may have him sneak into the late first, early second. There's a few teams like the Rams, the Raiders. If they miss out on Cam Ward and Sanders, they can get Jackson Dart in the second. There's a couple of teams that I really feel like he would be a fit in, but it's going to be interesting to see how well he values because they said his interview process was off the charts. So I think him and Jalen Miller, we'll talk a little bit about later, but I think they've really came into developmental pieces in the NFL. A couple of years out for sure. So we'll get right into it, man. Just like I said, I just basically wrote down things I took from the combine as it went from Thursday till Sunday. Just kind of wrote things down that I had noticed. Again, Sunday I didn't really do a lot of watching. The quarterbacks did not impress me. Again, Jackson Dart was the highlight of the day, but we'll just go and get started. So things I learned from the combine, right? Number one and foremost, Texas Longhorn wide receivers can run. And we just got done talking about Matthew Golden, a 4.29. Again, his stock rose nicely. Bond kind of disappointed everybody with all the talk. And that's kind of when your mouth, does the talking before your feet do the walking, right? He was very confident in producing record-breaking 40 times, beating his ex-teammate. I'm sorry, not ex-teammate because he transferred from Alabama. I apologize. But ex-Texas Longhorn, Xavier Worthy. He had a 4.4, which we all know Xavier Worthy 4.21 last year is the record currently. So again, before you do the walking, his mouth did the talking, and obviously that may be a character issue. You got to be confident, but you can't be too confident. So for Texas Longhorn wide receivers, 4 wide receivers have ran a 4.4 or less while topping 23.5 miles an hour over the last 2 years. So Bond, Golden, Worthy, and I can't remember the other one. But that is more than any school, okay, in the last 2 years. So again, Texas speed, baby, Texas speed. Number 2, running backs. They really put up eye-popping numbers for me. Obviously a big name that kind of hit the combine. Well, a small name before, but now a big name is going to be Bashul Tutin. I hope I'm saying that right. But out of Virginia Tech, the running back, he ran the fastest 40 out of the running backs. Nearly almost hit the NFL Combine Triple Crown, which would be the 40-yard dash, the vert, and he was second in the broad jump. So that's where that Triple Crown was nearly. But had a great combine overall, man. And only in 35 starts in his college career has had 52 touchdowns and 3,600 yards. So, I mean, the production is there for sure. 4.3240. His first attempt was actually a 4.38. So, I mean, he wasn't obviously clearly satisfied with his first attempt, came out, turned the jets on, and ran a 4.32. Now, that is the same speed that Devin Achane had ran last year or 2 years ago, whichever year he was drafted. I'm sorry. I think it was last year. But he has Devin Achane speed. If you watch NFL, obviously you know Achane has got speed. Miami's running back. So that's something to look forward to. His vert ranks top 15 running backs since 2013. So he's got bunnies. His hops are off the charts, guys. And 6 overall out of all positions this year. Now, obviously, corners usually have the top verts, but a running back being 6 overall, it's pretty impressive. Not to say much, but out of all of these running backs, Tootin was the heaviest at 206 pounds, and ran the fastest. So that says something, right? Another guy that stood out, Quishon Jungans, had the best broad jump, 6th best since 2013. I think it was just a little over 11 feet. Another couple 40 times that really stood out, Jadon Blue, guy out of Texas. Again, Texas speed, 4.38. I think he should be a second, third round pick. I think his stock kind of rose just a little bit. Brashard Smith, 4.39, and R.J. Harvey, 4.4. Moving on. Milroe and Dart. They make some noise on Sunday. Again, no quarterback overperformed by a lot. Nobody really tore up the charts, kind of like Bo Nix did, or kind of like Josh Allen did when he came in the combine. Nobody lit up the combine. But there was enough moments for both of these guys to be developmental pieces in the NFL, like I said. Milroe probably has the better arm talent. He showcased his arm talent on the deep balls, had some pretty accurate ones. Dart was accurate, but arm wasn't as strong. Milroe struggled with intermediate throws. Kind of inside the numbers, medium routes, about 10 to 15 yards in. He just really struggled on accuracy. Also, his hand size. His hand size is on the smaller size. 9 inches your typical floor for a quarterback, and his is 9 3/8. So again, small hands. He decided not to run the 40. So I think he will possibly do that at the pro day. But again, Alabama has pro day coming up. A lot of these schools have pro days coming up. So that's something that we'll be watching. A little bit of good news on the good end news. Josh Simmons is way ahead of schedule in rehab on his torn patellar tendon. He is looking forward to again, ahead of schedule. He was not planning this, but now he is planning a pro day mid-April before the draft um, to really showcase. Again, he was a top 10 pick outside of an injury. So this will be a big day for him to really show that the injury didn't do much to his stock and that they can still use a first-round effort on him. We're going to talk about a couple tackles here coming up, guys. A lot of these tackles are smaller in size. They have been asked to move to guard. A lot of them are okay with moving to guard, but again, a lot of them are sticking to their game tape. They're sticking to their performances in college. Will Campbell, his arm length questions, right? But again, measurables do matter to some coaches, to some scouts. Measurables, if you just don't have a Jeff Stoutland, if you don't have a great offensive line coach, you have to get measurables. You have to get size. So, where I picture Will Campbell was, if you remember a couple of years ago, we had a guy called Peter Skoronski come out of TCU, I want to say. I believe that's right. I think he was a Horned Frog. He went from tackle to guard in 2023 and has been great for the Tennessee Titans. A couple quotes from Will Campbell on the podium about his arm length questions. Tape speaks for itself. These are in quotations, and I did it in college. I'll do it again. And that was in regards to the questions and the just the questions surrounding his arm length. Next guy who's near and dear to my heart, hometown guy, Membu from he's an offensive tackle from Missouri for the University of Mizzou, the Tigers. He's going to be a star to watch, man. He really impressed me in the combine. I think he proved that he is a first round talent, in my opinion. Typical tackle is at least 6'4". He's a little bit on the short end, 6'3" 3/4. He is right there on the borderline, and that's kind of his point. He's like, height's never really been an issue, and kind of just look at my game tape type deal. Again, tackle to guard rumor. He is up for it if that's what it takes. Guys, this tackle ran a 4.840. Only 2 tackles have been faster in the last 20 years. Taron Armstead and Lane Johnson. Good company. Next guy, Kevin Banks Jr. Does he go to the inside? He had said that 6 out of 19 teams that he had met with asked about willingness to move inside. 49ers spoke the most high interest at 11. So again, the 49ers definitely need offensive help. Trent Williams is not getting any younger, so they definitely have to look at offensive line here in the first round. Moving on from tackles, we're going to go to the corners. The corners brought spotlight-worthy speed, guys. For me, Maxwell Hairston out of Kentucky. He ran a 4.28. He had a top speed of 24.25. That's fast. That's quick, guys. He's the 5th fastest in the last 3 years overall, and the 2nd by any corner in the last 3 years. Darren Porter ran a 4.3. He's a little bit bigger in size, so we may say that's a little bit more impressive than what Hairston has, but Hairston's long. Hairston's got a reach. And then another guy that really impressed me was Tulane's Caleb Ransall. He ran a 4.33, and he had the highest vertical. Again, corners, guys, when we look at verticals, we look at speed, right? And we look at the way they turn their hips and the drills. All 3 of these guys really impressed me. I think that, a lot of them won't be first-round picks. I think the corners in the first round will be, your Travis Hunter, obviously, your Will Johnson, your Jahdae Burton. But outside of that, man, there's going to be a lot of defense on the defensive line. There's going to be a lot of couple quarterbacks. There's going to be some wide receivers, a lot of offensive line. So I don't see a lot of corners going in the first round. but they definitely definitely helped their stock. Listen, the guy that probably impressed me the most out of this whole combine, the whole 4 days, was Nick Imanawara. I hope I'm saying that right because he deserves it. But this guy's look, guys. This guy is DK Metcalf at safety. It's quite scary, honestly. The guy has the utmost confidence. It's kind of borderline cocky confidence, but I like it. A quote for him, and again, this is in quotations. A safety like me has not come through this league in a long time. A lot of size, a lot of speed, and a lot of ability. I like the confidence. 6'3", 220 as a safety. That is a massive frame, guys. Massive. As we had touched on pre-combine, this is one of the guys that I see going to Seattle at 18. I had this guy as a first round talent before the combine. I think he has solidified that he is a first round talent. First and vertical again for a safety, 43 inches is insanity. The dude is an athletic freak. Broad jump was 11.6. That was first. He ran a 4.38, which was second. Marquise Styles out of Kansas State ran .01 faster than Nick. These are some of the top wide receivers in their 40 times. JJ ran a 4.4, Pickens ran a 4.47, and CD ran a 4.5. He is toasting these guys. Again, he reminds me a lot of Kyle Hamilton, guys. And I think that's why Mike McDonald out of Seattle would really like that defensive piece. He worked with Baltimore very well. Had a Kyle Hamilton obviously there. He knows how it works. He knows how to use them. And I think Nick in the box as a slot, he's lined up at all these positions, guys. He didn't participate in any position drills, but I think he may be another guy that's going to do a pro day. He'd rather do it on his own field. And his NFL comparison is Derwin James. I think that's a pretty good comparison. Hard hitter, a ball hawk. It's going to be a guy that you do not want to get hit by across the middle. I can promise you that. Moving on to tight ends. Explosive tight end sees the spotlight. Okay, so we didn't have a Tyler Warren. We didn't have a Colston Loveland, right? Again, these guys are probably going to do pro days in the next couple weeks. Terrence Ferguson put his name on the map, guys. Put his name on the map. He is 6'5", 247. He ran the fastest 40 at 4.6. That's quick for a tight end. Vert was first, 39 inches. And he's 6'5", and he's jumping 39 inches. That's some reach. And then he was third in the broad jump at 10.2. So, again, very strong combine all across the board. Very tall, long strides, and he builds speed with those strides, guys. Him doing the gauntlet drill where he run across the line, very accurate, stayed very accurately on the line. And when he turned upfield, man, you just seen the long stride, the speed that came with it. So it was very impressive. I think that he kind of went from a day 3 to a day 2 pick. I could see an early second, late second pick. There is some needy tight end teams. So he definitely put his name on the map. Next news, Ashton Genty is apparently attending the NFL draft. 4 teams met with him at the combine. Bears, Bengals, Broncos, and Raiders. The 3 Bs and the Raiders. He said, and I quote, this is for you, Jimmy. I hope you're listening, brother. He said, I would hope that I don't fall that far, but if it happens, I would have no problem playing for Denver. That's one of my buddies, Jimmy. He's a big Broncos fan. We've had this conversation a couple times. He would like him to go tight end. Obviously, get one of the top 2 tight ends and give Bo Nix another weapon. But Genty's a weapon too. And I think Genty would be good behind that offensive line, give Bo Nix a play action ability, and it would be quite scary if Genty fell that far to 20. Amarion Hampton, another guy that really his stock rose over the weekend. With Genty not participating in the combine, this was one of the guys that everybody was watching. And he loves the Genty hype. He had said personally that he loves the Genty hype. He loves the way the running back room in the NFL is right now with the Barkley and the Henrys and the Joe Mixons. It's kind of putting the value back into the position. And he says, we're ready to add to that, and we have to basically keep that tradition going in the running back world. Um, this guy last season had over 1,200 yards after contact, only second behind Genty, obviously. But his idol and who he models his game after is Joe Mixon. This guy has pass catching ability. He prides himself in the blocking, the pass protection, and the guy runs hard. So it'll be curious to see Marion Hampton where he goes. Some guys have him as a late first round talent, kind of like to the Steelers or even to Denver. I've seen a couple to Denver because Genty's already gone. So it would be interesting to see. I have him as an early second day pick, second round, but we'll see. We'll see if anybody sneaks into the first come draft day. That's really about it, guys. These, like I said, these are just some things that I had really taken from the NFL Combine itself, and just kind of just ran through. And we can go over defensive line again. Again, a couple guys to watch for, man. Ty Robinson out of Nebraska. His NFL comparison was Grover Stewart. He's 6'5", 288. Ran a 4.8. Had a pretty solid combine. Was first in 40-yard dash, third in the 10-yard split, and had his fourth in vertical. Number 2 in broad jump. Another guy, C.J. West. He's a little bit on the shorter side, but again, I liked what I saw. Ran a 4.95, ran hard. He is ranked the number 1 athlete out of all the defensive tackles. His comparison was Kenny Clark, which I think is very, very fitting. On the edge route here, we'll go. We already talked about James Pierce Jr. We'll talk about Shamar Stewart a little bit, cover him again. He's got the Myles Garrett body, guys. 6'5", 267. The guy ran a 4.54 40 time. Number 2 in the vert, first in the broad jump. Again, had a very, very strong combine. He flew up mock draft boards post combine, so that's a name to watch for. In mid first, I would say 18 to 22. I would say would be a solid pick. Another guy, Landon Jackson, which I hope falls. Him or Pierce Jr. I would be very ecstatic for the Eagles at 32 if we decide to keep that pick. But 6'6", 264. The guy is a big frame. First in the vert, 40.5 in the vertical. He still ran a 4.6, 4.68, which wasn't bad. Second in the broad jump. His NFL comparison was Jalen Phillips, which I also kind of like. He was very, very, very aggressive in the bag drill. I mean, his power emerged once they got to the bag drill. Again, he is first in athleticism and the DE in the edge department. And again, 9th ranked overall. He had the top speed at the 10-yard split. The guy is quick off the jump. Let's see here. Stewart's 1.58 10-yard split, tied for second fastest by any defender, over 265 pounds over 15 seasons, which last one was Nick Bosa. So you kind of see what Shamar Stewart did for his stock, and obviously it rose. Like I said, I would say maybe even like a 15 to 22 range would be a solid pick. C.J. West, we had talked about how hard he just ran. 4.95 40. He reached 20 miles an hour and became the 9th DT, the 9th defensive tackle to weigh 315 and run a sub 5.0 since 2003. So, again, we're going to be looking for a lot of these guys doing pro days coming up. I just wanted to hop on here and give you guys a lowdown on if you didn't catch the full effect of the combine, or if you just kind of wanted to go from an X's and O's point of view. But Just wanted to kind of give you guys the lowdown of what was transpiring, and yeah, so I appreciate everybody coming in, and if you would deeply appreciate it, look us up on all platforms, guys. Facebook, TikTok would probably be the number two, followed by YouTube. We usually on episodes that I like people to go back to or to rewatch or watch several times, I will upload on YouTube and Facebook. I go from a website, but other than that, man, if we're just doing a quick talk, we kind of just go on TikTok sometimes. So again, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, those are the kind of the three big platforms for us. As you can see, we got the new polos. I'm excited about that. We're excited about the way that the direction that Sports Lounge Media is going in the next NFL season. We should all have our NFL credentials by the NFL season start, which you'll see more content from us. We're going to games, going to media events. Me and Sunshine State Eagles. I'm sorry, bro. Look him up on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube as well. We are heavily thinking about going to the NFL draft this year. So we're excited about that and possibly where that can take us. So again, follow us on all platforms, guys, to get that content and to get you the best information that we can. That's been Sports Lounge Media. So again, appreciate everybody dropping in. We are powered by Sports Lounge Media and sponsored by the Mobile Brand. And here at Fantasy Blitz Podcast, we appreciate everybody.